Hey, beginning band, what's going on? It's Mr. Watson here for your last final lesson about counting. Before we start, I just want to say that I miss you all dearly, and to celebrate that, I'm wearing pink today to honor all of you all and to let you know that you are loved and missed. I can't wait for next semester to start back so we can continue making great music together. In the meantime, we still have business to get done in this semester with our last lesson. So, counting. What is counting? Counting helps us identify and verbalize a certain rhythms within the notated piece of music. We see all that black ink, and we magically know how to play it on our instruments when you're following a conductor. But what if you're practicing on your own? How do you identify those notes and rhythms? Well, counting is one thing that can help you with that. The best part about this is that you don't need an instrument for this. You have your lovely voice that you can use to verbalize these notes and rhythms, and it can help you further develop your sight reading skills. All right. With that being said, let's give it a start. So, in our lovely time signature of 4/4, meaning that there's 4 beats in the measure and the quarter note gets the beat, we start off with our whole note. A whole note is a note that is sustained for 4 beats. Next up, we have our half note, which is 2 beats. Our quarter note, 1 beat. Our eighth note is half of a quarter note, and a 16th note further subdivides the eighth note. So, if we're maintaining a steady time signature of 4/4 at a certain tempo, I have my percussion sticks here to help demonstrate. Shout out to percussionists. All right, but if I'm counting out those rhythms, those certain note lengths, as I may, it would sound like this. So here's the tempo: 1, 2, 3, 4, and here would be each note length that I just described, starting off with whole notes. So here would be whole notes: 1, 2, 3, 4, whole note, whole note, whole note, half, 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 quarter, 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 eighths, 1 and 8. Oh boy, how am I gonna say this? Oh yeah, eighth notes. Eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note. 16th. 1E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the 2E and the 2E and the 3E and the 4E and the. So, I kind of flipped up right there, right? Counting can get confusing, but there's a system that we use to identify each of these different note lengths. I like to dub this as the 1E and system, because that way it can help you identify each different note length that we have here in our common time signature of 4/4. So, starting off in 4/4, you have 4 beats. And it's quite simple when we start off with quarter notes. All we need to do is follow along with our tempo, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 to indicate each different quarter note. Now, let's say I have 4 measures of music. Do I do 1, 2, 3, 4 continuously? It depends. You have certain options. Some musicians like to do, if they have 4 straight measures of 4/4, how they would count this would be in quarter notes: 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. So they indicate every next measure, like they indicate the measure number in each one of them. So let's say I'm 16 measures in: 16, 2, 3, 4, 17, 2, 3, 4, 18, 2, 3, 4. It can really help keep track of your music. But in terms of quarter notes, that's what we start off with. Um, let's go and expand that into half notes. So we start off with quarters. How would half notes sound like? All right, so maintaining the same tempo that we had with our quarter notes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 1, 3, half, half, just like that. And next up, we have our whole notes. Our whole notes would be a note that is sustained for 4 measures. Not measures, sorry, notes. For 4 beats, it is sustained. So, following that same tempo, that would be 1, 2, whole, whole. If I was, let's say, like a French horn, I'm gonna use my voice here. Here's what whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes would sound like, along with my tempo. And I'll sing it for you guys. Here we go. 1, 2, ready. Whole, whole, half, 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 quarter, 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 quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, quarter note. Yep. So that's how that would work. So we expanded from quarter notes to half notes to whole notes. But what if we go the opposite direction? Musicians like to use this term as subdivision. And what happens when we subdivide our quarter note friend? What we get are 8 notes. 8 notes, how we would indicate that would we use and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Notice that every time I say and, my stick travels up. That is what we call the upbeat, and then when it hits on the beat, that's the downbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. So within a measure of 4/4, it would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Just like that. If you wanted to count multiple measures, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, and that's how you would count 8 notes. Moving on, lastly, we have our 16th notes. So let's take a look at our quarter note friends. And when we use the term subdividing, we can break up a quarter note into 4 equal notes, 4 equal beats, and those are indicated like 16 notes. Think back to like 4th grade math when you had fractions. It's the same thing that how you can relate this to music. You have your whole, then you have half of the whole, you have a quarter of the whole, and you have your eighth. Well, shapes are weird. You have your eighth, and then your 16ths of a whole. So, in terms of quarter notes, right? There's 4 quarter notes in 1 whole note. Okay. Well, the same thing can be said for 16 notes to quarter notes. There are 4 16th notes to 1 quarter note. And how do we indicate that with our counting? So, as a whole, this is what the one-ienda system means. So, the first 16th note would be 1. The second 16th note would be E, 1E. The third would be and, 1E and. And the fourth one is ah, 1E and ah. Combined, you would count a 16th note as 1E and ah. 1E and ah. 1E and ah. So yeah, you might want to go and practice that a few times on your own. 1E and ah. 2E and ah. 3E and 4E and just like that. So, yeah, with that being said, we've covered all of the different ways to count using this one-ienda system. Your assignment is going to feature a graphic that shows you how to indicate each of these rhythms. Your assignment, I want you guys to go ahead and record yourself counting along with that rhythm for each of those 4 lines of the picture that'll be in your assignment. When you're counting this, be sure to clap along like how I've been using my sticks. So, for example, this should sound like this. 1, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and that's it. With your handy dandy metronome, yes, I want you guys to be using your metronome for this. You'll be doing it at a tempo of 70 beats per minute. I'll say it again, 70 beats per minute. All right. The second half of this assignment is an excerpt that I'm going to use to to test your abilities with this. This comes from the trombone method book, the Bordoni exercises. They call it the Rochu book. Some of you trombones might have it, but for everyone else, this is in bass clef, but don't be discouraged. I don't want you to I don't want you to sing. You're not doing any singing or anything. You're just counting the rhythms that are on the page. All right. So let me see here. Yeah, so in your assignment that you'll be receiving, you're going to go ahead and submit 2 videos. One is going to be to record yourself counting the first excerpt, which is just a page that shows each subdivision of whole, half, quarter notes, and 8 notes, and 16 notes. The next one you're going to do is from the method book, the trombone method book. All right. Yeah. So I can count on you guys to get this assignment in. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. All right. Hope you all have a great day. And I'm looking forward to hearing your submissions. Love you all. Be safe. Stay clean.